Hi everybody, Jim Messina again, here with some more vintage drum videos. If you want to see more of these videos, I've been doing a bunch of them, so go to Gumph1234, that's Gumph 1234, and you'll see interviews with famous collectors from all over the world. Bunny Carlos from Cheap Trick, who's a huge collector, English collector Dave Brown, Mike Corrado. Anyways, I've got two more drums here from my collection. They're Wartime drums. A lot of you have seen these and know what they are, but for some of you new collectors or intermediate collectors, these have a story to tell because they were right around World War II. This is a Slingerland. This is a WFL. Okay, now the interesting thing about these drums is that during that time when the war was going on, they had what was known as the 10% law, 10% rule. The War Production Board would only let companies manufacture their product out of 10% metal because they had to save, for the war effort. So hence the drum companies had to figure out, what are we going to do? How are we going to produce drums with only 10% metal? Here's what they came up with. Now, they made whole sets this way too, and I do have a WFL bass drum. Tom, I'll show you that in another segment, but right now I just thought I'd show you the snares. This is a Slingerland rolling bomber snare, one of the most famous of the wartime era snare drum sets. Ingenious, as you'll notice, the lugs are made of wood. They were usually rosewood or walnut, very hard wood, wooden hoops. The strainer is a version of the clamshell strainer, except, once again, wood, rosewood, but it still worked fine. Now, a lot of times these levers would break off, but I believe you can get repros of them now. And it came with calf skin heads, even though I have a fiber skin on this one. I think it works just fine. There's the original calf skin head. Of course, we have the Slingerland Cloud badge. Now this white marine pearl is slightly yellow, but it's in great shape. I actually made a reproduction of the rest of the set. I didn't think I was going to run across another rolling bomber set or the whole thing, so I do that sometimes. I turn a project out of something like this. It starts out with one piece, and then I'll finish it off. So what I did was we actually made some of these rosewood lugs. I found a Russian guy in town here who in Russia learned that trade. He was a very good with wood. He dead-on copies of these lugs. So I made a whole set out of them. So I'll show that to you later, but that's pretty interesting. Here's the WFL. Now it has a different tuning system, and that's very interesting. They were really ingenious on this one. Here's the strainer. But if you'll notice, we have drum key fittings on the sides. There's another one. There's another one. When you would turn this with a drum key, there's a ring, a wooden ring right around the bearing edge on the inside, on both sides of the drum. When you turn this key, it applies pressure on slats of wood that are curved, and by turning this key, it would force those slats to straighten out, hence putting pressure on the top of the head, pushing this underneath the head, pushing upwards and pushing downward at the same time. These, we'll call them the lugs, they're just holding the hoop on. That's all. They're connecting it. But what an ingenious system. In fact, I don't know if you can see this now. The bottom head on this is cracked, and my snares are detached here. I don't know if you can see in there, but you could actually see the wooden slat on the inside. Let's see if I can show you this. You might not be able to see it, but if you look inside, maybe the light isn't very good, but very hard to see the slats. There, that's a slat right there. I hesitated there. You can see the slat. It's in the curved. It's curved right now. But I just think that's an ingenious tuning system. And it's not the first time that it will be used in drum history. And we'll get to that a little later on down the line, because Leedy came up with a product later on in the 50s, and it was the downfall of George Way and his association with the Leedy company. But I just wanted to show you a couple of wartime snares here, because they're so different, and I'm proud to have them in my collection. So, Jim Messina, sayonara. We'll see you in the next video.